Hi Flosstube, I'm Debbie. Welcome back to Grandma's World. I am kind of hoping to make this shorter than usual because I'm exhausted. This has been a really hard haul for everybody. I know that. And just, it's so not like me to not be optimistic and not be hopeful that it's especially exhausting for me, because that's not where I usually live, in pessimism. I don't do negativity real well. So it's affecting me, and I keep trying to pivot and focus on some of the really wonderful things going on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis. My work on my gardens is going really well. I have lots of wildlife to enjoy there, and I'm loving Mania. This has been so much fun, and I've gotten so much done and so much to look forward to, taking these starts to the next steps. So I'll get into that in a minute. For now, I don't have a lot of haul. I guess I should be happy to say that the influx is slowing down. Most of my things are kitted up, and we're at the end of the month, and things are moving along, and I haven't, well, I almost lied. I was going to say I haven't been buying as much, when actually I just bought 8 patterns or 8 charts from somebody, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But what was fun this week, as far as equipment, as far as what I have to work with here, is that I was at my mom's and she had a Hirschner's catalog that she wanted me to look at, and this tool was in that catalog, and I'm guessing that you all know what this is. It stores like this, and then you can open it up like this and put your chart here. So if you put it on a surface, it's going to hold your chart up for you, right? I haven't seen this for a really long time. I knew I had one and that I found that it made my life easier, but I didn't know where it was. And so I said, gee, I have one of these somewhere. I should go find it. So I did go find it. I found the box. It was labeled embroidery equipment. Go figure. And I had this. It had a couple more. I just bought 3 of these, but I didn't see the smaller ones. So it had a couple of these metal. You put them behind your chart, and then you can use the magnetic strips to keep track of where you are as you're working. They're Loran. They usually come with a ruler that you can use to double check the size of your chart. And then sometimes you can get the one, I don't have it here, but there's one that magnifies and has a little yellow line that you can keep track of if you need the magnification. So I was excited to find a couple of those. And I also found these beautiful thread keepers. I remembered them once I saw them. I bought them at Shepherd's Bush on one of my visits there. So that's a bird's nest. This is very Shepherd's Bushy. A ram with a bird nest. And then these are little, they've got actual clips on them. And I don't know if they're to actually use with a project, or if they're just decoration. But I'm going to try them on my project bags. Let's see if I can get it. Of course, with my trimmer, it's not going to slow down. But these are apparently made for Shepherd's Bush. At least that one is. Okay. Fun. But the real thing that got really excited, I didn't find another thing I was looking for. I have a little box full of small scissors, and when I found them recently in the box, I said, oh, I wondered what happened to all those scissors. That's a really good place for them, and I don't know where I put it back. I haven't seen them since. So I was kind of keeping my eye out for that while I was going through looking for this thing. And I found this. My mother made me this several years ago from a kit. And I opened it up and found it is full of needles, packages of tapestry needles, including some of my, let's see if I can find them. I may have already pulled them out and put them with my kits. No, here they are. Yeah, these are my favorite, the Peacemakers tapestries. So I had 3 full packages, some 28, I think they're all 28. Yeah, these are all 28s, which are my favorite ones to use. And then I had a lot of DMC. I don't have my nose in the air about DMC. DMC works fine with me most of the time. And what was interesting about these, they're all different sizes. I have 26, 24, mostly 28 though. But they are, like this package is made in the UK. And then I had a couple of packages that are made in England. But most of them that are in this thing were made in India. And I don't know the timeline for that. But I do know that some of the LNS owners that I've talked to are saying that the quality of DMC floss started to go downhill when they stopped making it exclusively in France and started putting manufactories in other countries, and that since it sold last year, the quality really has gone down. So I haven't noticed it yet, but I don't have any of the new stuff yet. I'm still working from my stash that I've had for years. I also found 3 of these Mary Arden tapestry petites from England. And apparently I've used them because I'm missing a couple. But I have no memory of that, of using them like that. My guess is that it's probably with my Firefly Fairies because that was the linen one that I was working on most. So I probably used it because it was a smaller needle. I don't know. So that's about it for my haul. It's not even a haul, nothing that I purchased. I did get some floss in, and I'll mention it as I do my Mania Report. And like I said, I'm waiting on these charts to come in, but I don't need any more. So my report, my Mania Report, I had so much fun this week. And let's see if I've got my, no, I don't have my dates right. This way. This was the first one of the week, I think. May 22nd. And this is an envelope I made. I love this fabric, but I didn't buy enough to do anything with. I just had it in the museum. And so I took it out and did a little fancy cutting to get it the way I wanted it. And so in it is going to live Madame Chantilly's The Bear and the Tree. And I got to start on that on the 22nd, which was last Friday, I believe. And I got this really big piece of fabric. I actually got it for something else. I got it for Shards of Hawk Run Hollow, and it wasn't what I wanted. But what I decided to do, since I want it for a pillow, I'm trying to, I don't even know which way is up on this. I think it's this way. It's an 18 Ida, and I'm going over 2 so that the picture is bigger to put on a Christmas pillow. And that worked out fine. We'll see if I continue with it. I've been interested in people's plans for their Mania starts. I don't see myself, I like the idea, I just don't see myself doing it. of continuing to work on it on the day that it popped up in Mania. So for example, on this one, I would work on it again on June 22nd and July 22nd and so on. But I would really like to get some of these finished, and I don't see in 2 hours a night, once a month, being able to finish any of them. So I'm not going to do that. I'm thinking of right now leaning toward maybe picking the 4 or 5 that are nagging at me the most and doing those throughout the year, working on those. So we'll see how far that goes. So that was the 22nd. And by the way, I had this set up, I had Christmas projects and then finishing the month out with Halloween projects. And the Christmas went, I think, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, or maybe we started on 22nd. One of them I'm not able to do, one of the Christmas, because the fabric still has not come in. But that was okay, I used that time for something else. And then this one, this is one of the ones that's talking to me the loudest, that I really want to do. It's a Véronique Enjongy piece. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. Well, Mon Bio Sapin, maybe. I don't know, I don't speak French. But it is a tree, Christmas tree, full of little birds doing little bird things. One's nesting, they're giving each other presents, they're hanging presents from the tree. There's a basket down in here. Let's see. Yeah, there are little baskets through here with like apples and stuff in them and berries. So I think it's adorable, and I love the idea that I could do, you know, it's like doing the motifs on some of the really popular projects now. You know, each little bird tableau would be considered a motif. That would be fun to do. So I'm not doing it on the check. I decided to use the fiddler. Fiddler is kind of my fallback on anything that looks kind of country. And here is as far as I got in an evening. So for each of my Mania starts, yeah, that's in there. The plan was, and I kind of stuck to the plan, 7 o'clock, I call the day over, take my shower, put my jammies on, go put my feet up, and pull the start of the day. I have done no prep to it at that point. I had done no prep to it, so I find my starting point, and once I have the starting point in any of these, then I can, here are the colors. Once I have the starting point, I'm allowed to, or I'm committed to, not allowed to, I'm committed to, look at this. I love these colors. Once I find the starting point, I am committed to a half an hour of stitching on that start. That usually takes me until about, that whole process, take the shower, get the jammies on, close down the house, get my feet up and do all that, takes about an hour. And at the end of that hour, and I've put in my 30 minutes, then I get to decide what to do with the rest of my evening, and I can either switch to a different project for the rest of the evening, or I can keep working on that, on the Mania project. And for most of the days, I've just continued working on the Mania projects. There's not a project in here that I haven't loved working on. And I just wish I had more hours in my days to drag this on. I will eventually have more hours, but not right now. And for the 24th, oh, this one was so much fun, and I am so addicted to this woman's work now. By the Bay, she's out of York, Maine. And this piece hope it's in here. There we go. So I have friends in Massachusetts. I've been to visit them twice. Both times my friend has taken me to Ogunquit, Maine. I even wore my Perkins Cove sweatshirt for today because I knew I'd be talking about by the Bay Needlearts. York, well, anyway, the first year that she took me to Ogunquit and to Perkins Cove, she booked us a shore tour on a tour boat out to the Nubble Lighthouse. This is the Nubble Lighthouse here. So, and that part of the country, I immediately fell in love. It was in the fall both times, and it was just so glorious there. I just loved Ogunquit. And then to take that shore tour up to the Nubble in York, I loved that too. And so when now that I've discovered her designs, I was just really on Google looking for cross-stitch charts of the Nubble, and I found two really good ones. And I think I've already shared both of those out. But in the course of doing that, I also fell in love with this Christmas one. Learned the story of By the Bay Needlearts. It's in York, Maine. She had a shop there for a while, was doing her own designs, opened the shop, couldn't make it to go because that part of the country shuts down in the winter time. And people just are not out needlework shopping. So, yeah, Donna, you do amazing work. And what I love about it the most is how she captures the way that part of the country feels to me. Just there's something warm about it in the fall like that. There's something warm about the Atlantic Ocean in that area. Now, in the last trip I was on, we went to Cape Cod, and it was cold and windy and rainy, and it's not that far away from York, Maine, but it was a different experience. I loved both experiences, but I'm looking at how to get back there and spend a few days there before connecting up with my friends, because it's too big of a chunk out of their lives to have to hang out with me in another state. Oops, forgot those. So that was the 24th, or the 25th? 24th. The 25th, I think, was the day I had to skip the Christmas one because the fabric has not come in yet. Nobody's fault but mine. I had two pieces of fabric and I just didn't want to use them. I wasn't excited about doing the piece. And then I spotted something at, it's either Embroidery Express or Stitchery Express, and I can never keep them straight, but she's the one who carries the fabric flare. And I have a piece that's coming up here pretty soon to share on that. I found something in her collection that I decided that was what I wanted to do that on, and it's only been a week since I ordered it, so it's not here yet. And it's a Christmas piece. Now we jump into Halloween. And there's my story with this again, if you don't recognize it. I ordered the fabric. I fell in love with it because it was these fall leaves, and it had a very strong, like an apricot to orange cast to it. The leaves were orangey, and then the whole thing had this kind of orange glow to it, and that's what I fell in love with. So I was really disappointed when it showed up and it was just these browns. And I know that's a dyeing thing. I'm learning about fabrics and how they dye them, and how different base fabrics take the dye differently. So I know that's what's going on. But I was still disappointed. So I tucked it away, And what I'm also learning about fabric is that you tuck it away and within a week you have found the perfect project for it. So I was kitting up these Halloween projects and for Mania, and I was on Readly and looking through the cross stitcher. October 2019 had this sampler, and I was able to print it online. And unfortunately, when I first looked at it, I was attracted to all of this stuff that they've got going on around the edges of this. And I didn't really pay that much attention to the sampler. I said, oh, it's just that the stuff around it is so appealing to me. Then I looked more closely and realized this is a fabulous sampler. The haunted house is amazing. The raven on the tree is amazing. The moon is amazing. The cats are interesting. The poison apples and skulls and the poison in the bottle tipped over, and oh my gosh, that's so clever. And this bat, that's a work of art right there. This bat, I love this bat. Excuse me. And then the pumpkins, it's not just a row of pumpkins, it's pumpkins and a witch's hat, and they have spiders crawling all over them. So this is what I started, and I'm looking at it. I actually pulled just this piece of fiddler again to do it, and then it dawned on me, no wait, I have this piece. I think this would make a really good background for that sampler in that magazine. So that's what I started it on, and oh, I had so much fun with this. I started with the moon. If I put my head there, does it help? I need a board. Yeah, it helps a little bit. So I started with the moon, and it's so much fun to do this piece. So that's a keeper for sure. You know, if I decide to whittle this collection down to 4 or 5 to work on during the year, I don't know if I can do that, but I'm going to look at that as an option. And this one I would definitely stay working on for the rest of the year to try to have it ready. I don't think I can have, well, I might be able to have it ready by this October if we don't have any more crises pop up. Here's what I have of the color palette. I'm missing a few, but pretty much just your typical Halloween stuff. Did you see my bag? I love this bag. Look at those ladies hanging out. It's another piece of fabric that I bought with no intent of making anything. It was just going to live in the museum. And then the same year they had this. I don't know if they were supposed to go together or not, but they definitely did. And this one reminds me of Gary's, the laundry lines that he does on Sunshine Stitchers. So that's nice. So far, these are all Aidas, and I am so grateful that they are dying Aidas for those of us that work on them, because it definitely is more fun when you have something pretty to work on. This is my favorite of the Halloweens so far. And first of all, my bag. I fell in love with this troll fabric about maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I don't even know how long it's been in storage. I have a panel and multiple different kinds of companion fabrics with it, but I decided I wanted them on a bag, so I did that. And the inspiration for this, thank you Gary, again from Sunshine Stitchers, was the Witch's Sky fabric from Fabric Flair. The first one came in, and it was an opalescent and that wasn't what I wanted. I kept it. I liked the fabric, which is fine. It just wasn't what I ordered. And she sent a note and said, if you want to send this back, you know, we'll credit you and do it again. But they didn't have what I wanted, which was a 16 Aida, not opalescent. So she sent me the 16 opalescent. I decided to keep it and just reordered a 14 plain. So I'm glad I did. But here is the moon and the start of what is going to be some trick-or-treaters. And the chart that I found to use was this Teoduic for Victoria Sampler. This piece, if you did this piece according to her directions, it's less than 3 inches wide. She's working 1/1 on a linen, I want to say a 30 something, 38, 32, something like that. Doesn't matter because I need it to be bigger than that to pull this off. So I'm just doing it over the 14, which would be the equivalent of 28, right? So what I'm doing with this, and this one shows it a little bit better on the back, I'm putting the haunted house up at the top by the moon, and then I'm dividing these up. It'll be this little group of kids and their houses coming from one direction, going past the garden with the scarecrow and the cats and the pumpkins to meet up with this little group of kids coming from the other direction. And they're going to be marching along the bottom of this, right about in here. It's not, I don't know how to say this. To get the effect I want, this isn't going to leave me a lot of framing space down here to do it this way, because on this one the moon is in the middle of the fabric and it didn't give me a lot to work with down here, but that'll be okay. I won't, yeah, I may just put it on sticky board and go with that. But as soon as I got this peak in up here, I said, oh, this is so cool. I love this. And I think it's going to work out really well. So I'm really excited to continue with this. Finding the flosses was kind of a challenge because she uses all metallics and silks and very little DMC. So I had to go through the picture, one in the chart, one thing at a time, and find a replacement for it. So here are some of the DMCs that I found, and then I found some thread works that are awesome for this. Like there's one, the ground that they walk on is a row of what she just calls fall colors. And so I went through the Threadworks catalog and found a few that I thought would work. This one for sure, but I think I'm leaning toward this one. This is a Threadworks called Honky Tonk. And yeah, I think I'm going to use this one to be those fall leaves kind of scattered on the ground like that. Although there is this one too, a little bit darker. But yeah, I'm seeing it on the screen. I'm going, yeah, I really like that. I think I'll go with that one. And then this is another one that she used, like up here, just a little bit of a line here under the eave on that peak. She used this purple, and I would happen to have something called Berry Cobbler. All it said was purples. And I said, okay, well, I think I'm going to just use what I have, this Berry Cobbler, which is a Gentle Arts. So I'm definitely going to be continuing with this, and I definitely am going to try to get this done in time for this Halloween. How I finish it is a whole nother story, because until I do it, I'm leaving the house for right now. This was one evening's work, and I'm going to get these little guys in down here to see what that looks like and how much room that takes, and then I can come back and finish what needs to be finished of the house. House is on a little hill. And I'd like to get that little hill into if I can, but I'm having a hard time picturing how they're going to fit on this. So that is where I'm going to go with it next. I'm going to leave the house, as much fun as it's been. I'm gonna leave it. It has a couple of trees by it and some bats, but I'm gonna leave it for now and see if I can get some of those kids to pose for me. Let me know if that's actually gonna work for me. I'm just gonna stack this right here. I'm really rushing this. Carrie Newcomer is doing a living room concert right now, so I'd like to get into that. And the final one for this week, GaRon Tottenbags made a Halloween bag last year from this fabric, and I fell in love with it and tracked it down and got myself one to throw together for a simpler, not as elegant as what they do. I'm so glad to be part of their bag of the month club, but at least it's cute and I have it. So the story behind this, it was another fabric from that same order where I ordered those fall leaves in the orange and got the browns. I ordered this fabric not wanting this dark. The picture that I saw, it was all lighter grays, like this, more like the whole thing was like this without these darker pieces. So I was disappointed when it got here and put it away, and sure enough, within the week I decided to do this. Gary, you're the one who introduced me to buy the Bay Needleart because you're the one that showed this tree. And it reminded me of Disneyland has a Halloween tree based on the Kurt Vonnegut story. And it reminded me of that. So I wanted to do this. So I ordered the chart, got it, and said, the fabric is, fine, but I didn't have anything like that in my collection. And I said, what about this? What if I went ahead and put it on this? So I got it all kitted up, got started on it last night, and started with this green. And as I was working on it, it doesn't look too bad here in this light, but back in my sewing room with just the, I use it's a 3-way light with a reveal bulb in it, a natural light bulb. And it just, I couldn't even see the green on the gray. It was just too close a value. And so I said, I don't know if that's gonna work or not. But I went ahead and put the leaf in with that green. And then went to put the pumpkin in. And this was the color that they had for the pumpkin in the chart. And that was better. Still wasn't quite what I wanted, especially if it was going to be right next to the green, but it was okay. It was all right. And I was just about, in fact, I did pull it off and thread a needle with it when I happened to look over to my table that's next to my chair and saw this. And this is a Threadworks color called Cayenne Pepper. And I said, ooh, I wonder what that would be like to use that as the pumpkin instead of the called for one. So I put that against it and I said, oh yeah, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. The saturation of this and the variegation in it was just the feel I wanted for this piece. And so I gave that the evening last night and got this much of it done. So this is the pirate pumpkin. Still not thrilled with the leaf on it, but this tree doesn't have a lot of leaves on it anyway. I may have to do some finagling with the houses down below, but I don't think so. They seem to be a lighter color down here. And then the bay and all will be the white. The spider webs, the ghosts, the moths, they're all white. And then of course, Gary the witch has to have green skin. And I may choose another color for her gown. just because that doesn't thrill me. And I could also choose another color for her hair because that's not going to show on this dark gray very well. So yeah, that was fun last night to work on that. So I have two more Halloween. This is Friday. I have a Friday night and a Saturday night stitch, and then I have 2 projects that are like the one for Sunday night. The fabric shifted because fabrics hadn't come in, so I have an extra day at the end, but that's okay because I have plenty to work on. So I'm going to close up. I'm going to go see if I can still catch some of Carrie's concert, and I wish you a good week. Those of us who whined about 2019 are taking our licks now with 2020, aren't we? So I'll see you next week. We'll fold up Mania, and maybe by then I will have decided how to handle the rest of this for the rest of the year. So have a good week. Bye.